Now another thing I do want to do before we get too far along is go into my car icon down here at the bottom of the screen and change it to screen clean mode right here. And I found out it was a T30 star head Torx bit. So I'm using my own because it came with the wrong star head Torx with their tool packet. And then pull this down. Oops, we got it upside down there. No problem. Fits one way, kind of wiggles like this, and it's just kind of shaky. If that's too loose, it's going to cause rattling and vibration to your screen. It looks like we might have to detach this. I don't know. My project was. The screen was totally blacked out, no power to it at all. Hi guys, Todd here again with TW Home Show. Welcome back to my channel, and today I got another Tesla accessory product I'm going to be installing. Thought you'd enjoy seeing this. We're going to make the Tesla screen swivel, back and forth swivel. I didn't choose to get the up and down and back and forth. I wanted just the, the back and forth. So we're going to make that center screen move back and forth toward the passenger and then toward the driver with this hand show accessory right here. Rotating screen bracket. So I got everything laid out right here on my table, right across from my car, to make this job easy and smooth. I can see all my parts right here. Got all the tools that came with it, and I've got my toolbox, of course, if I find any easier tools to make this project go a little bit quicker. All right, the first thing I want to do is remove this bottom cover right here underneath our screen. There's a little notch up underneath there. If I can get to it to pry it off. And just lower that down. Now there's a sensor wire here, air sensor wire. We're going to disconnect that, and it should be a little pin to press. Right here. Press that in and then pry the plug up. And I'm just using a little screwdriver for this job right here. And here's your sensor on the back. And I believe we're going to be putting this sensor into another cover that they've given us. But we'll set this aside for now. Now another thing I do want to do before we get too far along is go into my car icon down here at the bottom of the screen, press that, go to display, and change it to screen clean mode right here. And now we won't disturb the screen. All right, now I'm going to remove the lower bolts. These are 10 millimeter, so I'm using my 10 millimeter socket right now. And I'm going to loosen these bolts. There's two underneath here. I think these two are the main bolts that hold the screen actually up and on the dash here. Got one out. And the second one out. I'm going to see if I can pull this off now. Just going to shimmy it little by little. Okay, this side's loose. That side's loose, and we got it. And I'll set it on my microfiber towel right here. And move this up so you don't stretch this cord too much. And there we go, we have the screen completely off. Now we gotta unplug the screen from the back here, which we will do next. Now before we can remove this wire harness, we've got to get this shroud off of the back of the screen. And I found out it was a T30 star head Torx bit. So I'm using my own because it came with the wrong star head Torx with their tool packet. No problem, got my own. And I've hooked it up to a socket wrench. And it's 2 bolts, one over here and one over here. Easy enough. And we've got that loose. Okay. And collect your bolts so they don't fall down and scratch your screen. And you can pull your shroud up now and gain access to this connector. And this white piece right here is a protector to kind of keep this held into place. So we're going to go ahead and remove that first. Just kind of pull it apart and lift it. Like that. Now we've got access to this purple or red plug right here. There's a tab on this side right here. If you can see that. Tab right here on this side. Hopefully you can see it. I'll show it right here. So press that tab in and grab the connector firmly and just kind of wiggle it up. And there it comes out easily. There's your connector. Now the whole screen is fully detached. So we can pull this factory shroud off, set that aside, keep the white piece on here because we're going to lock that back into place after we get our new bracket installed up in this area right here. Our swivel has to go in here. And now we're going to install our swivel bracket provided by Handshell. And we're going to take our existing screws that were mounting our current screen into this bracket. So pull these back out of your cup holder or wherever you put them and just hand tighten them back up into here to hold the new swivel bracket into place. Get both of them started, and you'll have to swivel this back and forth to fit them in. Like that. And I'll take my socket wrench again, 10mm, and tighten these up snugly. Make sure they're snug, guys. You don't want this thing bouncing or rattling around after your project is done. And there we have it. Nice and snug. Swivels without rattling. So that step is done. All right, now I'm going to take our new shroud that was provided by Handshell in the package, and I'm just going to feed these wires in. And just fit this bracket in up here at this time. Make sure the wires are through there. And it's kind of a tight fit up here to fit them in underneath the bolts and into the dash at the top. But it will snap in. And at the bottom as well. Yeah. So just take your time with it. It might take a minute to get all the clips in place properly. And that looks well done right there. So now we got to get our other shroud here and snake it through here first. That will be this one right here. And all right, so it mounts here. So the wires go in through here. Now I'm going to go ahead and reconnect our red purplish green connector wire right here next. And it can only fit in one way, guys, so you shouldn't be able to get this wrong. So fit your connector back in there until it clips. Fit your retainer down over it till that clips in there like that. And then pull this down. Oops, I got it upside down there. No problem. Fits one way. First we need the existing bolts that we removed from the back of the screen, taking this apart, and they will go right back into place here on both sides. Get my T30 socket right there, and then that will tighten these up a bit. Just make sure they go in straight. Now, before I tighten both of them up, I like to get both of them started. There we go. Popped into place. And just snug these up. Remember, you're just holding a plastic bezel on, so they don't have to be torqued down really tight. Just snug the plastic bezel onto the screen bracket. Just enough so it doesn't rattle. And that's good. Now this, remember, keep this wire connector out because we're going to need to connect our temperature sensor back up to this, but not at this point. Right now we're going to go ahead and see if this slides onto our bracket. See if I can get you a better view. Let's see. Go ahead, slide this on. Looks like we might have to detach this. I don't know. Yeah, it's at quite a bit of an angle, so I'm going to go ahead and detach this bezel for now. Slide that back onto the swivel cradle. There we go. You can see that. And then we can take our bolts. Which are the ones that Hansho provided. Torx head bolts. Those go in up underneath, right here, and just hand tighten them at first. Make sure they are threaded in properly. Got that one started. Now the other side, which you may not see, I don't know. And you may have to, you know, kind of jiggle your screen on the bracket a little bit to get the bolt lined up with the threads. Okay, there we go. And I'm using the torque tool provided by them, by Hansho, to do these two bolts. Now guys, I discovered an issue before I put this completely back together. Look how this kind of wiggles like this, and it's just kind of shaky. That's too loose. It's going to cause rattling and vibration to your screen. So I believe the main pivot point, there's a nut on there that needs to be tightened. So if you run into this situation and it's like kind of got a jiggle like this, stop right there. Stop right there. Reverse what you just did. Pull the two lower bolts out first. We got to take the screen back off and gain access to the main swivel nut and tighten that some more. And I'll show you how to do that. Just stay tuned. I'm going to take this apart right now. I just remove these lower bolts down here and remove this screen again so we can get access to that stuff. I'll show you how to do that. All right, I got my screen back off, and now just pull this cover down. And now, before you start this project next time, if you ever do it on another vehicle, see how, if you feel this and it just feels flimsy and wobbly, this is in here sturdy that we tightened up earlier. So that's tight. That's not the issue. It's this swivel it's loose. It tilts up and down and everything. So we got to get a bolt or a socket to fit this bolt right here and snug that down. Okay, so that bolt right there, that's a number 17. So I got a socket to fit that And I'm going to go ahead and snug that up. Now, all right, see that's too tight. And it's hard to tell until you get leverage on it, when you get the screen on there and you've got more leverage. But you don't want to break or torque the screen, but you don't want this thing jiggling either. It'd be nice if you could adjust that while the screen was on. I'll tighten it just a little bit more, I think. Okay, I'm going to go with that tightness right there. Put it all back together. Now this shroud here is hard to get over this swivel, I noticed. It takes some work. You gotta swing this to one side and then the other. There we go, like that. We'll snap it in once we get this in place. Put the screen back on there. Slide that right onto the bracket. Okay. And we'll put our bolts back together. We'll repeat those steps and then I'll catch up to you on how to put the air sensor in and the bezels. All right, yeah, see how that is much tighter. No more rattling. So that works. So let's get the bezels back in, clipped in on the back, and our air connector sensor hooked up and the rest of the bezels. Just make sure your wire's still out, fed through there. There's one side and the other. Get the bottoms down. And just kind of take your time and make sure it's all clipped into place and looks right. That does. All right, this one is a T15 Torx bit. All right, I got those off. Set the factory cover aside. I'll put the sensor in here. And it only goes one way for the holes to line up. And now use the provided by hand show Phillips head screwdriver or screws right here. And they do give you the correct screwdriver to screw these in. And remember, when you're screwing into plastic, just snug it. You don't need to break a plastic piece and make the job even more difficult. So there we go, we got those. Now this cover and sensor just snaps into place, but first we have to clip our wire connector back in there. It's right behind here. I got it right here. I'll go ahead and clip that in till it clicks, and then we got to snap our cover into place. Got one side in, got that side in. All right, wires are loose enough to move around. Now we just got a rear cover piece to put on back here. I need 3-sided sticky tape on here, and they didn't have that in the package, so let me get some sticky tape to put on there. All right guys, I got the 2-sided sticky tape on, so I'm going to go ahead peel this off. Okay, ready for the final piece, the rear cover. This is really paying attention to detail now, addressing the rear cover here. Oops, if I get it right side up. There we go. And press and hold firmly for a second or two on both ends. And at the top, there we go. Complete. Now, let me go clean up from this Florida sweat heat weather. We had a rain shower on top of it, so I'm gonna clean up and then we'll look at the product and see how it works. All right guys, if you come back and your project was like my project was, the screen was totally blacked out, no power to it at all, So that was probably because I had it off for so long and touching it while it was in screen cleaning mode doing the swivel adapter project. So what I did was I held both of these buttons right here, the roller buttons, both and the brake at the same time. I held it until the screen showed the Tesla logo again, and then let off, and it all booted back up, and it's powered back up just fine like that. So don't panic, okay, like I almost did. So it all works great now, and I want to get you situated here, and I want to show you how this tilt works and how I think it's going to be convenient for me and my wife when we're traveling, especially on long road trips. All right, so here's what I like about it, especially with the hand shell second screen up here. Now I've got the speedometer right in front of me, right through the steering wheel, which is great. My wife loves it. I love it. I can see what gear I'm in. I can see how fast I'm going, or I can even navigate if I'm connected to my smartphone. So right here's our main control screen, and this is the factory setup. It looks like it might be a little bit lower, which might help with air a little bit better, air conditioning. So that might work to our advantage. I don't notice any difference. Actually, it seems comfortable to me looking over here naturally that it's down maybe slightly lower. But look at this, guys. And I thought it was going to be like a gradual turn, but it's like it's got click notches. So 30 degrees toward the driver, 30 degrees toward the passenger. And so now, if you're the passenger, you can take on navigation mode, and you can do all the navigation, find out where the next rest area is, or where the next gas station is. Gas station, what am I talking about? Or where the next charging Tesla supercharger is, where the next exit might be coming up. And you can have somebody in the passenger seat navigate for you. Now, and when you're done, then the driver can take over, and it feels like you're in a fighter cockpit now, with everything facing towards the driver, and it's awesome. I love it. One other thing is, I don't know if you can do it or not, but if this was over here like this and you had a wireless game controller or something, a passenger could actually play a game or something, solitaire or something, to make the time go away on a long trip or something like that. Or I don't know, maybe pull up an online book or something like that and read. Who knows? The possibilities are endless, but I'm sure liking this addition, and I like that it doesn't jiggle or rattle anymore. So remember that. I hope you watch the whole video through before you actually start your installation. Now, I would have to say, guys, this project right here, installing the swivel on this screen, it takes someone with knowledge of tools, and make sure you have tools on hand, because like I showed you in a couple instances, the tool supplied by hand shell, I don't know if it would be different with any other company you buy it from, but those tools may not be the exact size that you need for a bolt or nut or anything like that in this situation that I had. You saw all the way through the install project. So make sure you have a toolbox, someone with a toolbox, and some pretty good know-how of basic mechanical skills, and then I think you'll be happy with the success gained afterwards, after the project's all done. I am. So thank you for tuning in to another one of my videos, and guys, I'll see you on the next one.